Let's take you to Parliament, where our business editor Xolani Mbanjwa continues to speak to different political parties ahead of this afternoon's highly anticipated budget speech. And Xolani, it is expected that the Finance Minister will have a little bit more wiggle room as compared to his predecessors. Expectations from political parties?
Good afternoon, this afternoon here in a scorchingly hot Cape Town here in the Western Cape, and I am sure absolutely that it is as hot in there in Tenhays, where Cabinet is actually meeting. We're expecting them to come out at any time. They are meeting with the President to discuss some of the hot issues that will be presented in the budget speech in 2 hours' time, and I'm sure it is as hot in there as it is out here, because there are many demands that are being put on the table for the new Finance Minister, who was only last year appointed to this position. And to find out more from the political landscape and political parties represented here in Parliament as to what they would like to hear, I'm joined now by Mr. Wouter Wessels. He is the Freedom Front Plus member of Parliament and also the spokesperson on finance. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's start to talk about the issue of tax. The Freedom Front Plus is of the view that when it comes to personal income tax, when it comes to corporate tax, those should be decreased so that you allow people to spend. Tell us more.
We need to create a conducive environment for the private sector to grow. People need disposable income so that they spend money. Businesses then need to invest and grow and create jobs, because our unemployment rate of more than 46%, if you look at the expanded definition, is unsustainable. People are hungry in South Africa. We have a hunger rate of 40%. 40% of South Africans are hungry currently. And the only way to address that, to eradicate poverty and to address food security, is by getting jobs. People will have to get jobs and employment. Grants won't help, and that's why we need a tax environment where there's relief. If there's any increases today, that will be detrimental. The economy won't grow. We will go into economic recession and we'll have more job losses. Also tariffs. We can't have more increases in the fuel tariff or in the road accident fund tariff. What we would want to see is that the minister says we're getting rid of the road accident fund, because it's only costing South Africans a lot of money, directly and indirectly. It's non-functional, it's bankrupt. We should rather introduce legislation that then legislates third-party insurance for all motor vehicle owners, such as the rest of Africa has. But South Africa has this non-functioning bankrupt fund that's costing South Africans a lot of money and is making people poorer.
The likelihood of that happening right now, in terms of the dealing with the tax issues and also tinkering with the road accident fund, certainly it won't take place today, but I'm sure the FF Plus is of the view that over time, that's what the National Treasury and the rest of government should be talking about.
Absolutely. If a cabinet is serious about what the President said in his State of the Nation address, to say that the private sector will have to be assisted, a conducive environment will have to be created for the private sector, then today is the day where tax incentives will have to be promulgated, where the minister will have to take a firm stance in creating a conducive environment for the private sector. He will also need to take a stance on government expenditure, because we are in a fiscal crisis. The deficit is getting more and more, government debt is out of control, so you will have to take a firm stance, not only paying lip service to it, but actually introducing measures to contain government expenditure, and especially the government wage bill.
Let's talk about the government wage bill. You are with many others who are saying that it is unsustainably high. I remember in the 2019-2020 financial year, South Africa spent 659 billion rands just on remuneration. What do you think the goal should be going forward on that front?
Well, the Minister is in trouble to a certain extent because for the past 4 years, if I remember correctly, in each budget speech, be it in the main budget or in the appropriation budget, the Minister of Finance said we need to contain the public wage bill and we will contain the public wage bill. But just a few weeks ago, a few days ago, the Minister approved an increase to senior management of government. Now, those senior management already earns too high salaries, unsustainably high salaries. And now there's an increase. And you will have to explain today. And not just pay lip service saying that the public wage bill will have to be contained and will be contained. You will have to explain why he approves an increase whilst we are facing these dire circumstances.
Mr. Wouter Wessels of the Freedom Front Plus says that there are three main issues that we must actually deal with. One being to spur economic growth through the lessening of taxes, and that is the second issue. And third, to deal with the unsustainable, what they call as the FF Plus, the unsustainable wage bill that the country has in the public service. Back to you, Dudu.
Xolani Mbanjwa, our business editor, thank you very much for that.